Hey, welcome back. It is a terrific Tuesday on Liquid Lunch. I took my show on the road, just stepped outside. I'm at my house, the Corona Bunker here in Staten Island, New York, and I'm with Frankie. Hey, Frank.
Hello there, John. It's good to see you unmasked and outside.
Well, that was a splendid interview you did with Morgan. She's a pretty impressive young lady, isn't she?
She's definitely very intelligent. I do wonder about, first of all, I didn't want to, we are limited in terms of time, but people point the finger and say, oh, socialism, socialism, socialism's bad. But it seems like a lot of people that tend to vote Republican have no problem with socialism as long as it's socialism for things that they like. A lot of Republican CEOs, for instance, lined up to get bailout money in 2008, and then they lined up again to get bailout money under the PPP in 2020. So it seems like certain people, I'm not saying Morgan, but certain people, they're all for villainizing socialism when it comes to healthcare for people and for giving people some food and providing a public education. But then when it comes to, they're against that, but they're all for a bailout for big business. So I don't want to get into a whole philosophy, but when people demonize socialism, well, what are public schools? Isn't that socialism? What's Social Security? Isn't that socialism? What's Medicare? So, I don't know which of these people that loves to point the finger and say, we hate socialism, is going to come out and say, I'm against all these programs that have, help prevent poverty for millions of people and do away with them. So, but I think what she said about General Flynn was very interesting, and she certainly is a very nice person.
Yeah, well, look, there's definitely some parts of our government where the government is supposed to run social programs, and we want, some federal oversight in areas where we need it. I'm with you. I think Morgan's group tends to be more against, this really zealous, aggressive socialism where, the government taxes you to the max and then provides you all the services you need. And, you're right. The corporate culture going back to 2008, 2009 was all the free market capitalists were lining up for the government to bail out their entrepreneurial businesses. But I think there's got to be some kind of happy medium in between the two. I mean, social programs are one thing. Socialism as a philosophy is another.
Yeah, but look, I wish her the best of luck with her group, and I think whatever can be done to provide, more communication, more discussion, and more debate on college campuses, that's certainly needed now more than ever. Too often, it seems like students that might be conservative or may even deviate from standard liberal orthodoxy on college campuses get really the short end of the stick when it comes to everything from grading to socialization on college campuses. So in that respect, I think she's a voice that it sorely needs to be heard.
Yeah, I mean, look, it makes me feel good to see at least young people like her and Pavlina that come on our show, and they're not the stereotypical, pay off my, government, pay me back for my college, give me free health care, give me the Andrew Yang 2,000 a month check. So it's good to see that we still have some balance in the youth of America.
Well, for starters, I think Andrew Yang was only proposing $1,000 a month. Although, if we want to move that up to 2,000, I think that's great. But I mean, that really, I don't think there's anything wrong with the universal basic income that Andrew Yang was proposing. Not only did conservative economists like Milton Friedman, not only were they advocating something like that, but basically Andrew Yang was saying he was doing two things. One, he was saying you either take this instead of all the other welfare programs you're getting. If you want to stay in the existing welfare, net that you're in, you don't get the $1,000 a month. And two, it was really more of a dividend, just like Alaska gets. And when the Alaskans get a check from the government as a percentage of their oil revenue, I don't see many Alaskans calling that socialism. So I think Andrew Yang's goal of a universal basic income, we see now with people poof out of work like that by the millions, how important that is. And Andrew Yang actually had a means to pay for it, unlike how we paid for this latest round of stimulus spending, or unlike how we paid for a variety of other, wars and government social programs over the course of the last 20 years. So, I think the longer this continues, the more attractive an Andrew Yang program like a universal basic income is going to be.
Yeah, if you frame it as a dividend, I understand it. I think Alaska is a weird analogy because Alaska, basically had to be convinced by the U.S. to join the Union. And one of the things that they negotiated when they joined America was for all their natural resources, they would get a big hunk of that. And to reward the people for joining the Union, everyone in the state and indigenous folks would get a piece of that, the mines and minerals and stuff. So Alaska is a little weird, but I understand what you're saying, Frank. And, I had monkeyed around with a similar program to give people a good citizen payout for staying out of jail, for paying their taxes and doing simple things. And, maybe the Yang Gang seemed to be at least the most exciting of all the Democratic candidates, in my view.
Yeah, well, look, I think there were different things to like about several of the candidates, but certainly it was nice to see somebody that's not from sort of that insider Washington establishment bubble come out and emerge as a real presidential candidate here. I thought that was pretty interesting. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting couple of years economically and politically.
All right. Well, Frankie and I will see you tomorrow. If you guys are tooling around social media, check out To The Point with Eric Mitchell, which comes on at 2 o'clock on Facebook. And Frank and I are going to be joining Eric. He's been on our show many times before, and we are going to be his guest today. So let's see what happens when Eric Mitchell puts Frank and I through the griddle and see how we perform as guests. Appreciate you tuning in. We're trying to get better every day. We're still learning the quarantine, Zoom, communication methods, little issues here and there, but we're getting better every day. We need you to still be there every day, and we'll be here tomorrow, same bad time, same bad channel, more Liquid Lunch for you.